publicly, after 10 years of you trying to expose this evil, if you publish this book and you've done it, and I just cannot say with enough words how much courage that you've got, but I mean, I wish more men were like you.
Alex, because there are so few of us who are becoming whistleblowers and doing this, they are getting away with so much of this because they intimidate people. I tell people, imagine with the torture cases, if we had 30 CIA officers, most of them are dirty people anyway, but let's say they walked out and they said, we quit, this is despicable, and they went to the media. They wouldn't even call them whistleblowers. The problem is we have become exception to the rule, okay? So therefore they can finger point and say they must be nutcases, they are eccentric, they are disgruntled employees. The media, they make sure they don't cover the case, so they get away. But we need the numbers. There must be other people I know from the FBI, so many people, good agents, wanted to do the same thing, but they were afraid. They were afraid they were going to lose their pension. They were afraid because they had...
Hey, they've tried to destroy Schaefer.
They wanted retirement.
They've tried to destroy Schaefer, and he hasn't gone half as far as you have. But last time he was on, he just went ahead and blurted it out. He goes, yeah, this guy and that guy, and most of them actually are working for the government, these al-Qaeda people. And then he kind of, took a deep breath because he realizes what he and his family are facing. And he was the guy who could have killed bin Laden, but was told, don't. I mean, this is such powerful information that, but I've noticed, Sibel, you've pulled back a little bit because you did come out 2 years ago and say that, yeah, bin Laden was under CIA command.
And guess what? Again, this went completely underreported. And you know how I mentioned about my naive stage? This was not only with government and Congress and the courts. I did what many whistleblowers do. There's this whole non-profit industrial complex. They call themselves whistleblower organizations. You think they are there to help you. You go get to know what's going on with these people. You say, wait a second. For example, why would Rockefeller, Soros, and Carnegie's give each organization $4 million a year? Why? Why do they care for whistleblowers? Are you kidding me? Do they have such great heart? So they are funding them because that becomes another layer. This is the so-called non-governmental, even though they are in some ways governmental. They're under the same shadow government, to go and actually dissuade whistleblowers from putting their story forward. They actually try to manage and censure whistleblowers, and they are part of this whole game, this non-profit industrial complex. Go look at the fundings. Why in the world Rockefeller wants to protect the whistleblower? Ask yourself. The critical thinking that people need to engage in. And the same thing with this book. I put all the stuff, including the non-profit industrial complex. It is from the beginning to the end. Book part 1. Book part 2, Alex, that book, hopefully, if this is successful, that book will come out. It is going to be a fiction. Because with fiction, I'm not obligated to submit it to the FBI. And I'm going to tell people, here's my fiction. You go read and draw your own conclusion. Because what you've been hearing from the government is fiction. Therefore, if you put out a fiction that contradicts government fiction, then what would you call that? And that's why I wrote this part 1. This gives the context from the beginning to the end as a whistleblower, as what's happening to our nation. We have become a police state. A lot of people, they say, oh, we are descending towards police states. We are moving towards... I keep asking them, why do you say we are moving? As if we haven't gotten there yet.
No. The media puts that in their mind. Oh, we're moving towards one with re-education camps and NDAA and street lamps that listen to you and watch you and citizen spies and government.
That's why my website's name is Boiling Frogs. They are raising the temperature 1 degree at a time, and people have gotten used to it. They go like cattle. We go through those security lines. We spread our legs. We just open it up and we say, give it to us. That's what we have become as a nation. We have been losing our dignity, our liberties, and, we have become nothing. And unless we stand up and say, no, they're doing it with our tax money, and we're afraid of people that we actually sustain. That's ludicrous, Alex. It's ludicrous. And they think, oh, police state is going to be this really separate state that if we enter that stage at a state, everybody's going to know we are police state. People, they think I'm being dramatic saying police state. Then your First Amendment is taken away, which has been. Look at all these whistleblowers who are going to jail.
C-Bell, look at how they're announcing they're going to shut down freedom on the web, how they're going to, again, have streetlights watching and listening to you, drones. They've got the repair people watching you.
You know, there were websites and there were groups that were kind of cheering for me. After Obama got elected, I have become now their enemies. They have been slandering my name, saying, why don't you just limit it to George W. Bush and leave Obama out of it? As whistleblower, as a director of National Security Whistleblowers Coalition, I've been saying Bush was bad. This guy is terrible. Even with that horrible George W. Bush, we didn't have a single whistleblower prosecuted. Just take a look at what this man has been doing. We have had 7 government whistleblowers are being prosecuted.
For exposing government crime,
correct,
which is the height of corruption. And again, Bush didn't persecute whistleblowers, not because he was a nice guy. He knew he couldn't get away with it.
Exactly.
But in comes Obama, and I've seen him on the news go, good, you expose corruption? Democrats are like, send him to jail, as if Obama is the government, and as if, because they support him, now they're part of the winning team.
You got it, Alex. And guess what else they did? This liberal organizations, the ones that are funded by Soros, they gave Obama last year Transparency Award. And the meeting, the award was classified. They made sure it was secret, the ceremony. They gave this
That's right. The award ceremony for transparency was secret as a sick joke. He has the most secret. He said he wouldn't have signing statements, signs the most. Said he would give you 5 days for people to read the bills, accelerates it secretly through. Says he isn't for NDAA. Turns out he demanded it.
Right.
Says he won't sign it so people don't have opposition to it, then does sign it. I mean, total deception, showing there are no two parties at the top. We have been hijacked by Goldman Sachs.
We have been. We have been. And this two-party system, all the stuff they're putting there, they get 2 of their own candidates because there is no Democrats or Republican with these criminals and the mobs. It's the same side of the coin. One is called D, the other one is R, and they say, we give you 2 choices. Those are our options, and you choose between the 2 choices we present you. And we're going to coin that a democracy.
Let's expand on that. Talk about the sex trafficking, weapon trafficking, money laundering that Al-Qaeda's used to do. Because it's in the news that NATO is training a giant Al-Qaeda force at the old Kosovo training bases to jihadi invade, just like Libya, into Syria. And they've said the Christians and Jews are dead. But again, you're not a patriot if you don't want the Christians and Jews to all be killed now.
I'm not familiar with sex trafficking aspects of it, but as far as heroin goes, absolutely. And Turkey has been our #1 partner to get a lot of this done, because it's through Turkey that it gets to be distributed to, go to UK. And you're not going to believe this. Do you know where is the top distribution center after Turkey when it goes to the rest of Europe? Belgium. And you ask yourself, why Belgium?
Oh, that's because they've always been the gun dealers and in Africa and everywhere else.
That's where our NATO is.
Yes.
And that's what it is. And then you go, anybody who has tried to expose this has been suffocated one way or another, either literally suffocated, or they have been just marginalized, put aside, because they cannot have a career.
And again, you're seeing all the NSA communiques on this. The point is that they don't hide it now, C-Bell. I mean, have you seen Fox, CNN, all the channels go, yeah, the troops help grow the opium, and we load it on aircraft and fly it out. It's patriotic. You're not for Al-Qaeda, are you? We fight Al-Qaeda by shipping it out. And they literally say, we fight Al-Qaeda.
Well, you got to ask, as a nation, have we become that dumb? I'm sorry to use that word, saying as a nation we are becoming dumb and desensitized, that they can actually spread it in front of us, put it there, and we don't react any longer. As I said, if we can go every day, millions of us, and get bundles and stop reacting, they can get away. They're saying now we're going to hide it in our body cavities. I told my husband, I said, I can't do this.
No, they're going to grab you with cops, and when your kids cry, that's going to be bad, and they're going to billy club you. Now they have the police with them, and take your kids in there. I mean, and look, then you say don't fly. They're now on the highways and bus stations. I mean, it is so incredible. It is incredible. It's actually happening. I mean, we are jumping in the fire of Hades here very, very, very quick. C-Bell Edmonds is our guest. She'll be back in an in-depth interview with graphics and documents tomorrow on the Nightly News. We'll give you her websites when we come back from break. Classifiedwoman.com is one of them. Give us the Boiling Frogs website. Just give it to us right now.
It's boilingfrogpost.com.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is so disgusting. Sick of the globalism dragging on. By the way, during the break, I was looking at articles. I see these all the time around the country. These new checkpoints they're setting up, they do a lot of them in Tennessee because they see that as an enemy population that may revolt. At these new TSA checkpoints, they have the local police rob your wallet. And as little as $500 is seen as illegal. There's no law, but they say, no judge, no jury. You can't prove. Like in one case in Texas with the state police years ago, the woman had been at the bank. It was like $4,000. She even had the receipt that it was. They said, it's gone, lady. And if you argue, they go ahead and just take your car and impound it, too, and say, well, this must be drugs. In fact, show folks that article. We're going to be posting it on Infowars.com. That's News Channel 5. Man loses $22,000 in new policing for profit case. And it just goes through. The police pull you over. But that's a case of $22,000. And they say they're keeping it. If somebody told me this could happen to them, I absolutely would not believe it could happen in America. Buddy, you're not in America. You're in Bankistan now, okay? And the police defend it. They just say, look, doesn't matter if you got receipts. Doesn't matter if you are buying a bunch of trees for cash like a guy in Texas. Doesn't matter. Just, we're taking it. Asset forfeiture seizure. Shut up! Excuse me. Okay, and they're going to ship narcotics in, too. That's just the way it is. Seabell Edmonds, we got about 3 or 4 minutes left. I hope folks will get your book. You're risking your life over this. I've even seen them prosecute journalists that talk to whistleblowers, so maybe I'll get in trouble by the narcotics trafficking, murdering government that's using our money against us.
We may be laughing right now, but I won't be surprised because how things have been escalating nonstop. And by getting this book, by reading it, by letting other people know, people will be standing up for the freedom of speech, for the First Amendment. And also, it is raising awareness because so many people, and I tested this, I gave it to people who were not activists. They really, they are the ones who tune into the mainstream media and watch Dancing Under the Stars or whatever is that show. I don't even have TV in my house. And they read, I had no idea how corrupt and awful. I mean, I am just shocked because to me it just reads like fiction.
Ma'am, all over the country now, the police pull you over, and in some cases take as little as $500. And I mean from old ladies. They're not even taking it from like gangbangers. It's bad enough. I mean, this country is burning down right now.
So yes, please, for the listeners, get this book, read it, and become active. Put the word out and say, as long as we take it, they are going to escalate it. There's only one solution, and that is for us to stand up for our own rights. And when I tell whistleblowers, don't go to Congress anymore. There is one way, and that is the real revolution, to bring about revolution. Don't write petition to Congress. I was dumb enough to do that and waste time for years, even when you and I talked last time, Alex, 4 or 5 years ago. I believe that if I got 100,000 people petitioning the Congress, something was going to happen. Today, I tell them, don't waste your time.
You got a few good people up there, but the rest of them are involved in the drug trafficking. They're criminals. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, because they are, and that's one of the things the book gets into. Of the dozens of congressional people exposed in this criminal ring, they're on the pocket of foreign lobby and the heroin dealers, especially the ones in Chicago. Well, out of those people, 7 of them are still in there. So when people, they read this, they're like, this is what we are dealing with. And this only dealt with Turkey. Imagine with all the other ones, how many more criminals are in there in Congress. They are not answerable to you, the person, the citizen. They are answerable to their bosses. Those millions of dollars given to them by various interests, military-industrial complex, oil, you have the banking industry.
And here's the deal.
Yes.
The military-industrial complex, it doesn't just want to kill a bunch of foreigners now, which is bad enough. They want to destroy America and literally destroy the free market and take over, and we've got to stop them. Unbelievable. Seabell Edmonds, we'll talk to you again tomorrow night on the Nightly News.
Prisonplanet. Thank you very, very much, Alex.
Thank you. Prisonplanet.tv.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Visit GCNlive.com.
Big Nightly News tomorrow night, by the way, folks. Oh, boy.